Who's going to start checking to see who is transgender and who isn't? Will there be genital police at schools? Are we going to start checking everyone's private parts to see if they if they are what you think they should be? How do you plan on doing this? Do you know how dangerous it is for me in the bathroom? I'm the one looking around to make sure no one notices me and starts a problem.
So yeah, you get the idea. We got 14-year-olds needing to get up and testify their rights to exist and use the bathroom as they see fit, which is, you know, the state of the country. Good shit. So as many people know, recently there was an election in Ohio over Propositions 1 and 2. One enshrining the right to abortion in our state's constitution, which passed, and the other one being marijuana, which also passed. Marijuana is effectively legal in Ohio, which is awesome because, you know, we like liberating the druggos, right? But who's not as happy is the Republicans. They want to control your healthcare. They want to control your life and the things that you put into your body and the things that you're allowed to do with your body. And so they're not going to have it. Right? If they can't attack abortion, they're going to go on to the next best thing in their heads, which is, of course, trans people and trans healthcare, right? So House Bill 68, what is it? Basically, the long story short of it is they are going to ban gender-affirming care for minors, as well as participation in sports for trans minors. So if you're a transgender minor, if you're a trans girl who's like 12 years old and wants to be on the girls' softball team, right? Not only are you now getting told that you can't take puberty blockers and you must be forced to go through male puberty, but you also can't play with your fucking friends in the softball team, right? In the sports ball game, which is cool and normal and fine, right? No, of course it's not. It's stupid because I don't care what 12-year-olds do as far as sports go. Okay, I'm sorry, but a 12-year-old boy is not that much bigger or stronger or better than a 12-year-old girl. And if you want my honest opinion, actually, girls tend to go through puberty faster than boys do. So girls tend to be the bigger ones, as it turns out. But they won't hear it. So I just want to show you guys a couple of things real quick. First thing, we got a testimony against Ohio transgender bill in the Senate committee. Let's take a look. But before we begin this, I want to say there were a lot of proponents against this bill, including doctors, biologists, right? Like people who have studied this shit and know what they're talking about testified against this bill because they're smart. And again, know what they're talking about. And then there were like a dozen people who spoke for it. So let's take a look real quick at the testimony against the bill.
One of the most controversial topics of our time, whether or not to allow teens to change to have sex-affirming surgery and treatment, and whether...
Okay, yeah, you got to start off with sex-affirming surgery, right? Which does happen, but very, very, very rarely and infrequently. To be clear, it happens more often with cis girls getting boob surgery when they're 16.
Whether or not to allow biological men to compete in women's sports. Questions being debated, this time in Columbus.
By biological men, they mean trans women.
Mike Shell is live at the state capitol with more on that. Mike?
This is like a local news station, by the way. I want you guys to absorb what the local news station does, right? This is Fox 19, which is local. So they're already, without even meaning to, injecting the rhetoric of the enemy.
Trisha, they combined the two issues into...
and treating it like it's like a both sides thing.
68, which bans gender-affirming care and trans women in sports. Now, this is the third and
well, this guy knows what he's talking about, at least. Wouldn't have guessed it.
Final hearing by the House Senate Oversight Committee, which includes Butler County State Senator George Lang. There were more than 80 people who signed up to be heard before the House Senate takes up the issue
over 80
for
people.
A full vote. Now,
look at this crowd. They look so much more fun. Have you guys ever seen the crowds of people that show up to testify against the bill? They are the most crusty, disgusting, miserable old fucks that you've ever seen. And these guys look like so much fun, and I'd like to get to know them.
Some of the provisions in the bill include prohibiting a physician from knowingly performing gender reassignment surgery on a minor or prescribing a cross...
Dude looks like me. So does half of all men in America. I'm a white dude with a beard. A white bald dude with a beard.
...sex hormone or puberty blocking drug. State senators heard from a representative...
Why are we going to zoom in on the teddy bear?
...with the Children's Defense Fund who opposes the bill.
House Bill 68 is about...
Shut up, I want the teddy bear's opinion.
...providing a legal way to not only restrict the rights of trans and gender non-conforming youth, but also to shout to the world that you abhor those who go through this world differently than you.
Yep, exactly. I've seen a 72-year-old dentist get on the stand to say transgenders are bad. Yes, they will put any old person up there to say that transgenders are bad. Oh, my chiropractor said that transgender people are bad. And my chiropractor is a very trustworthy person. For those who don't know, chiropractic is kind of a bullshit medical practice. I trust a masseuse first.
Now, with all these witnesses to hear, and they will all get their chance to be heard, we expect the State House to be open well into the night. I am told that they could go as late as 10 o'clock tonight and then decide what to do after that. Now, the House has already passed this bill, House Bill 68. So if the
Now, this is before the Senate passed it, so it has passed both the House and the Senate, unfortunately, which means that the only thing left to do is for Governor DeWine to sign it. Now, here's the thing. Mike DeWine is a Republican, so we are expecting that he will fold and sign this, but he is showing hesitancy, and we'll get to that. All right, real quick, I wanted to pull this up as well, because I found this while I was digging through trying to find live feed, which I couldn't find, which actually somebody linked in my Discord server, or at least they're going to at some point, I assume. Anyway, I found this while I was rooting through, and I thought this was a really good article. I just skimmed through it, but it's really good, by Micah Mitchell. And I encourage you guys to go read it in its entirety, but I did want to just read a little bit of it. So this is Micah Mitchell, Crane Policy Fellow. I don't know what that is, but I just like what the words that he wrote. So let's take a look. Last session's version of this bill, House Bill 454, died in committee after 291 witnesses submitted opponent testimony, while only 12 provided proponent testimony. So what that means is almost 300 people stood against this shit, and a total of a dozen, not even a baker's dozen, 12 people stood up in favor of it. And I bet you at least a few of them were shipped in from out of state. Many more attended hearings to support transgender youth. This session, 18 individuals provided proponent testimony in the House. Last week, 19 proponents submitted testimony in the Senate, less than half of our Ohio residents. As evidenced by the hundreds of Ohioans who submitted opponent testimony, people who have taken time out of their busy schedules to again show their opposition to this bill, House Bill 68, is not popular legislation that Ohioans want or need. We did not ask for this. It did not stem from parents or otherwise concerned constituents. In fact, it did not come from Ohio residents at all. House Bill 68 stems from national groups with fundamental opposition to civil liberties and freedoms for the transgender community, groups that deny the very existence of transgender people. Medical care for gender dysphoria is evidence-based, medically necessary, and backed by major medical associations across the nation. In the interest of time, I will avoid restating testimony from the medical experts tirelessly working towards the safety, well-being, and health of all Ohioans. And I'll leave it there, but I will link this in the chat, and I'll also link it in the description of the video because it's such a good read. And actually, let me bookmark it so I don't forget. It's a really, really good article, and I encourage you guys to read it in its entirety because it summarizes my feelings. It's a very good statement. Very good statement. Yeah, 12 versus 291. This is just another grab for control by the lovely Republican Party, the GOP, right? You call them the GOP, the grand old party, right? We love them. We love them, folks. We love them. So this is from Honesty for Ohio Education. I've met a couple of representatives from there during some of my statements before, and you can search them on Google or, type the URL in, whatever. I guess I'll link this too. I don't want to be hunting down these links, but, if I favorite them, it's not as bad. But anyway, this is what they're calling people to do. So especially if you live in Ohio, make sure that you do this. Urgent action needed. Say no to Ohio's ban on gender-affirming care and trans youth in sports. The Ohio House and Senate passed an amended House Bill 68 on December 13th. House Bill 68 now moves to Governor Mike DeWine to sign into law. Take action now to veto House Bill 68. How you can help? Call Governor DeWine at 614-466-3555. These numbers right here. So I'm not doxing. This is just government numbers, just so you know. You can find the emails and all that. So if you live in Ohio, or even if you don't live in Ohio and you want to say something from out of state, they will still get the message. I don't know if they'll read it, but they'll still get it at least. Okay, so if you have the time and you'd like to help, that's how you can help at this point. Because really, it's just up to one guy now, Mike DeWine. And he's kind of wishy-washy. He's wishy-washy. And I don't like that about him, but in this case, it could very much help us. Let's hope that he does the smart thing and says no to this stupid, barbaric bill that targets children, man. Can we just talk about that for a second? Like, this targets children who are just trying to live their damn lives. Disgusting freaks, man. So gross. If you cannot stand the thought of your 12-year-old daughter participating in a sports ball game with a 12-year-old boy, why? What? Why? Like, it's not a big deal, man. They're kids. Let them play. Which, by the way, it's not a boy, it's a trans girl, but let's just assume it is, for the sake of the argument. It's really not a big deal. And it betrays their true intentions, by the way. This has nothing to do with medicine, this has nothing to do with safety or anything. Like, if you are advocating against trans children competing in sports, that has nothing to do with anything. It's just cruelty, exactly. The cruelty is the point. Thank you. Imagine forming your policy around removing the rights of kids and minorities. Yeah, it's disgusting. Removing the rights of everybody except people like me, right? Cishet presenting white men. All right, let's continue. Oh, I wanted to mention, by the way, the only reason I found out about this, or I guess who I found out about it first from, is GAG, Gays Against Groomers, as I call them, GAG. Huge Ohio Senate has passed a bill banning gender-affirming care on minors, as well as keeping biological males out of girls' sports. Remember, when they say biological males, they're referring to children. So they really care about the children. It now heads to Governor Mike DeWine's desk. This comes just 2 weeks after our GAG Ohio chapter leader in D-Transit testified in support of the bill with several other detransitioners. Add another W to the board. We will get this barbarism outlawed nationwide, one state at a time. What barbarism? They don't even mention the gender-affirming care shit. They mention keeping biological males out of girls' sports. What's wrong? I thought the drugs were the problem. I feel like that's the bigger thing to celebrate here if you're you assholes, right? But no, like, Gays Against Groomers is not a serious organization. They're just there to make children suffer. That's all they want. So last thing I want to look at real quick, unless I can get that video from that person. DeWine is taking a hard look at bill that would ban gender-affirming care to trans youth. House Bill 68 would also ban trans athletes from participating in Ohio women's sports. So I won't go through this whole thing, but basically it just says he is going to read over it and take a big long think about it. A hard look, right? DeWine's office had not yet received the bill as of Friday morning. He will have 10 days to sign or veto the bill once his office receives the piece of legislation. We're not trying to drag it out, but I'm going to spend a lot of time and talk with additional people and look at it again. This is a serious issue. People on both sides of this issue who obviously have very different points of view, I do believe, are worried about kids. So the bill would prevent doctors from providing gender-affirming care. It would ban physicians from performing gender reassignment surgery on a minor. But many opponents have testified that no Ohio Children's Hospital currently performs gender-affirming surgery on those under 18. I don't know how true that is, because as far as I've heard, they will in very rare circumstances. And also worth pointing out again that we do mastectomies on cis boys with gynecomastia, which basically means that you're assigned male at birth and grew tits just by accident. But it's fine if we lop your tits off if you were assigned male at birth, because that's the normal thing, right? Because we're gender cucked. Currently, if a trans girl wants to play on a team with cis girls in Ohio, she must go through hormone treatments for at least 1 year or show no physical or physiological advantages, according to Ohio High School Athletic Association. I think why was this not enough for them? So I think this is reasonable, right? Probably still a little bit too restrictive. I'd have to think about it for a minute, but I think this is reasonable. I don't understand what their problem with this is, unless they just want children to suffer, which again they do. The Ohio Children's Hospital Association opposes the bill. We do not perform any surgeries on minors for the condition of gender dysphoria. There you go. The CEO of the association said that. If this bill becomes law, it will be devastating to kids and their families who are already at their most vulnerable and will place an insurmountable barrier between patients and their medical professionals for often life-saving care. Nearly 1 in 5 transgender and non-binary young people attempted suicide in the past year, according to the Trevor Project's 2023 survey of mental health of LGBTQ youth. So there you go. They clearly do not give a shit about children's safety at all.
There's written testimony as well that have been submitted on HB 242.
There's a written testimony from a young girl.
Read that. It would be appreciated. Now I'd like to go back to the testimony on HB 183 to continue opposition testimony. Would Brady Anderson and Ann Anderson please come forward?
Oh, it's verbal testimony. Okay.
When you're ready, please proceed.
Hello.
This is 183. Okay, so is this a different House bill? This is House Bill 183. Regarding single-sex bathroom access. That's a different bill. So they're just attacking trans kids all over the place, it seems.
I need to speak with you today. My name is Brady, and I'm 14 years old, and I'm just starting high school. A little bit about me is I was raised.
She looks a little older than 14. I know the compression's bad, but geez.
Catholic, went to a Catholic school, was baptized, and made my first communion in the church. Then at the age of 7, during the 2nd grade, I was told I would no longer be welcome at the school, because I am transgender. So after being thrown out of the school I attended since preschool, I went to public school. Finally, I was able to be recognized as who I am, use the bathroom I'm supposed to use, and be treated like every other girl because I am one. It felt nice to be seen as who I truly am. Now you want to put me back in the boys' bathroom. Do I look like a boy? I was already thrown out of the Catholic school, so where are transgender kids like me supposed to go? And now public school, and I repeat, public, wants to put me in the boys' bathroom. How uncomfortable and unsafe would I be in the boys' bathroom? Very. I already get talked about, and this is just another way for more people to talk about us trans kids. Who's going to start checking to see who is transgender and who isn't? Will there be genital police at schools? Are we going to start checking everyone's private parts to see if they are what you think they should be? How do you plan on doing this? Do you know how dangerous it is for me in the bathroom? I'm the one looking around to make sure no one notices me and starts a problem.
So yeah, you get the idea. We got 14-year-olds needing to get up and testify their rights to exist and use the bathroom as they see fit, which is, you know, the state of the country. Good shit. You can go watch the whole thing on Aaron Reed's page if you want. We never did get the video of the testimony, which is whatever. We got a little bit of it, so it's fine. Yeah, I'm so tired of it, man. It just sucks that they can't help themselves. These freaks have to attack kids left and right. It's always about kids and protecting the kids and saving the kids. But the minute that a kid wants to play sports with their friend, now suddenly it's a problem because they don't have the same genitalia. What? That's disgusting. So yeah, I'm just baffled by my state's, you know, like, again, this comes right after we banned abortion. Sorry, the opposite. We enshrined abortion into our state's constitution. This comes right after that. And so they just had to get their grubby little paws on something else medical related because they can't help themselves. They have got to control our medical decisions. The GOP is sick, twisted, and I hate them. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more, hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload. If you enjoy my content, you enjoy what I do, I really appreciate any financial help that I can get. Go to youtube.com/AlecGunterTTV/join. You got some awesome benefits such as seeing early videos, awesome emotes that you can use in the comments of YouTube videos, and a sweet badge next to your name. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'd really appreciate if you join. It is cheaper than the cost of a blowjob from your mom. So with all that being said, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.